Friends and family, thank you for joining me here at the American News Network with Chris Sanders. This is the Malibu coast. We have about 18,000 residents in Malibu, California that might be facing evacuation as we're speaking. This fire is at 4% contained and around 4,000 acres. So we have this going on right now. It's called the Franklin Fire, and the air has shifted. Typically, we get air from the coast all the time, but what happened was we got a weird type of weather anomaly where we were actually getting it off the mainland for a while, and this blew the fire all the way up into the PCH. And so even all those famous homes you see, 2.5 Men with Charlie Sheen and all those beautiful homes, all those homes are facing danger. Even some friends of mine and people that you might even know. Bruce Willis, he's right out there on the coast, and he's not really in good shape right now. And there's a lot of people out there that that we're praying for. Eric Lloyd Costin, and his family, our heart and our prayers are with you guys as well. It's horrible. This is live right now, and this wildfire is fueled by very high winds, and we might have evacuations that are happening for Malibu, California. And again, I want you to see that it'll just be local police. I mean, we're getting air support here, but, Malibu will be the people there for Malibu. All I ask is in the future, this happened in 2008, and Suzanne Summers was really afraid about it, and with Cher, and I was like, you need to plant the Kiri tree, Kiri, or cottonwoods and trees that hold moisture that are not flammable. And the state of California keeps on planting pines, and when these pine trees and certain trees crown, it's almost like gasoline is put on them, and you can't stop them. So we need to do smart, select farming and plant rows of non-flammable trees, and that's just my suggestion. So again, this exact fire happened around 2008, 9, 10. And then 14, 15 years later, we're seeing a repetition of the same thing. Now, in other news, we have 39 days that we're held hostage. And I want you to know, 39 days left. It's going to be the longest 39 days ever. By the way, on 39, that note, Jack Wagon Joe also gave 39 pardons today. And he also commuted the sentencing of 1,500 people. I heard there was a big lot of them, too, that were military trans violators. Now, there's going to be a new administration come in, and they're not going to have necessarily trans people in because you have to like yourself to hold a gun. And they're also going to let a lot of service people back in that followed Isaiah 55. And in fact, we have like Isaiah 17 happening. Thank you, Miss Lee, for updating us on that now. But it talks about how Israel and Syria are cursed together. And I'll be bringing that in a little bit later on. But we have Iran claiming that they have an aircraft. That's what's going on behind me. And they're like, United States, we want you to be aware that we have an aircraft and you should be on high alert. Okay. I don't believe them. What we need to be on high alert about is the fact that they have submarines on both sides, and Putin gave them the Oreshnik for their submarines. So when they say be aware of our aircraft, I don't believe them. I think we need to be aware of their submarines that are holding Oreshnik. And if we are going to make Zelensky a crash test dummy with the ATACMS, and oh, by the way, last night he hits Russia. He tries to with 6 ATACMS. They are full, a couple of them land in. But we have NATO on Russia's doorstep right now. And Russia has pulled out of Syria completely. In fact, I'm going to show you them retreating out of Syria. And they have asked for their citizens to leave all those areas of immediate conflict. Now, when I see that going on, what I know is that that he's just gonna let them kill each other, have a war of attrition. So that's all I see really happening. Now, what I did notice too is that Erdogan immediately threatens Israel over Lebanon and Syria. So we have Erdogan of Turkey, this man behind me here, and he says, hey, look, and this is a live stream, and he's basically saying to Israel, you can probably have the Golan Heights, but be very leery of what you do in Syria and Lebanon. And actually, Israel must listen, because they've annihilated, together with Turkey, U.S., and Israel, we annihilated most of the war assets of Assad. Then the new guy, Jolani, comes down. He's the new Assad. Okay? Now, what he's asking for, I would love to give it to him. What he's asking for is he's saying, hey, let us Muslim factions fight it out amongst ourselves without the world intervening. Hey, what a great idea. I'm right there with you. It would be nice if we just let you guys fight it out amongst yourself. That's what I totally believe that we should do. So this is Jolani. This is the guy that in 10 days, so we have Khomeini on one side, Jolani on the other. And he's like, this is kind of amazing. He's like, Israel, everybody, Turkey, stay out of this. Let us Arabs fight this out amongst ourselves. Isn't that brilliant? Let them fight it out amongst themselves. It's their land. You have 6 different factions if we get out. There's a Christian faction of the Kurds up in the northeast. I heard that ISIS gave them a tough time. You can thank Barack Hussein Obama for giving them the war weaponry. This guy behind me is basically the new and improved Al-Qaeda 2.0. Trained by the best, trained by the United States. He's got equipment from Uncle Sam and from Vladdy P of the KGB. So that's why he's whipping everybody's butt. He's like, stay out of my business, let me do what I want to do, and we should let him do what he wants to do. We should then also, if anything, give our support. I mean, I'm going to tell you, I have my own opinions about things, but I speculate we get involved in the wrong consequences. We started Iran off wrong in 1979 when we took out the Shah. And I do believe that for some reason Pakistan should even have Imran Khan. Every country deserves a president that loves that country. And if this guy here can become the new president of Assad, or not of Assad, of Syria, well, more power to him. But we got to stop being the world's police. We have to understand that this man here unified his people from kind of the northern coast, directly south of Turkey. And in 10 days, he marched down. He took over Damascus and Homs, and he triumphed, and he took everything over. This is the man right here behind me, Jolani. And he's like saying, can you stay out of our business and let me just try to rule this country with the pieces that are now scattered. Now, I don't know, Jack Wagon Joe might have taken my advice. He might have actually freed a whole bunch of cocaine people too, because I was like, Jesus, Joe, if you're going to free the head crackhead in chief, because you turned the White House into a crack house, can you just at least free the other 1,500 crack houses throughout America? And perhaps he did. Very interesting. So we have Jack Wagon Joe giving 39 pardons. Pardon me, pardon you, pardon America. And could you pardon us for our actions, especially out in Gaza, for aiding and abetting in war crimes? It was Anthony Blinken. Are you going to pardon him too? I'm sure in there you're going to see the 16 pardons for this cabinet that we have that gets away with murder daily. So, Trump, my president, my good old orange man, good with watermelon nuggets. Sounds delicious. Sounds like freedom. 39 days, still freedom. Well, Trump here is now basically talking about how he is agreeing with me, and he doesn't believe that Zelensky should have been hitting Russia, and now he's supporting Russia. So we're all on the same side. We're going to see a unification of the KGB with Vladdy P and Orange Man Good, because we need Mother Russia and Uncle Sam to be unified. We're, two of the strongest countries that are out there. We're both Christian, mainly dominated, and then we have Islam and Judaism. We have all the faiths in our country, and so does Russia. There's a lot that we have in common with each other. So President Trump is now standing on the side of, of seeing what basically Putin is talking about. He was like, how can we be on that side? And so, yes, Trump is the master negotiator. And this is another thing that we have. So these new crimes will not go unanswered, and they will take 400 for 4. So Ukraine's bold dual strikes have ignited a fury in Russia, and the Chechen leader, Ramzan, is vowing brutal retribution, and the Kremlin is pleading decisive response. And while Kiev expands the battlefield deep into Russian territory, understand they lost a good 15,000 men in their outer perimeter. Jack Wagon Joe is feeding an entity that doesn't really exist. I mean, Kiev is more of a theater than we might give it hope and play for. So Kiev and its military has pretty much been abandoned. Zelensky's a termed out president. He's got about a 20% popularity, the popularity of like Jack Wagon Joe. And that's even quite a bit more popular than Heels Up Harris. Now, have you seen these orbs? Have you? They're blaming Iran. No, it ain't Iran. It's China. Pure and simple. I've already showed you on this show previous examples of Chinese warships that are carrying thousands of drones for surveillance programs. So we're seeing these on the West Coast, and the fact it started on the East Coast. Now, what other country? Now, this is Russia right now behind me evacuating Syria. They're only doing that because they're about ready to just let them fight it out. And then with the last man standing, they're going to blow them up and probably go back in. We'll see. But we've seen Russia go in and try to maintain an area like Afghanistan. And then we went over and turned it into our opium den. But in Syria, it's only that northeast corner that we're interested in because of the oil. That's the sad part of it. In other news, understand we took a couple of MSC hits today. The Houthis are really handing it out. And on the news flash, you saw that we're losing the UAE. So Yemen, the UAE, this really makes that peninsula now a hotbed for the entire United States Navy. And we have battleships and a battleship that just took some fire. And we do not know the response, but like I said, the Pentagon has confirmed casualties in various areas. How we are funding $8 billion plus $5 billion in more assets without voting on going to war is illegal. Congress or the Senate, we need to vote on going to war. The fact that we've been on a police mission for longer than 2 years, going on 4 years, is a violation of the War Powers Act of 1973. And we had presidents like Nixon and LBJ. And understand that even LBJ, this is something I'm going to bring up. This touched my heart. Candace Owens did a fantastic job on something. And she's going to reveal to you a story. And in this story, there's a veteran, a naval veteran that was on a ship during the 6-Day War, but he was on a United States ship, okay? So this man that you're going to see behind me with Candace Owens, this man here, he took fire, and basically they couldn't talk about it forever. And these are the bullet holes that came back into the ship, and this was Israel that hit us, the United States Navy. And LBJ didn't really give a rat's ass about the United States Navy. He was more concerned with helping out Israel. And they have kept this redacted from us. So there's 1 million people that have already seen the truth exposed on Candace's show. But we have let Israel hit us. We have let them kill our Navy. They damn well knew it was our Navy. They saw our American flags, and they shot the crap out of our ship. They loaded it full of 5 torpedoes. They killed hundreds of our men. There are 298 sailors, United States sailors, that were on board this ship. And they swept our lives away underneath the rug as if we didn't matter. And they damn well knew that it was a U.S. ship. LBJ didn't care. No, see, the CIA was so out of control, they just killed Kennedy, Martin Luther King. They had the power, they just jailed Leonard Peltier, turning the Sioux Lakota Nation into a reservation. No, our shadow government was way out of control. They had the keys to terrorize the world, and that they did. And so these Israeli jets that you're seeing behind me with the Star of David pummeled the United States Navy. This is actual footage of this stuff so that you can see and verify what I'm saying. They were even shooting our boys in lifeboats, the Israeli Navy, and they've redacted the truth from us. These are our allies, okay? And so I'm letting you know about the truth, because the truth is they're allowed to attack us. If we get attacked, they're not going to come defend us. And they have lobbied our Senate and our Congress so much, it's almost like when Netanyahu came into Congress, nobody caught the fact that Speaker Johnson made an Article 1, Section 9, Article 1, Section 10 violation with articles of nobility. You know, he introduced Netanyahu as His Excellency, and that's forbidden under the Constitution. You can't give a title of nobility to anybody, especially into Congress, and he did that. Now that is the power of lobbying. I already exposed how Marco Rubio took over $1 million lately from Israel in lobbying. Now when the Constitution put Article 2, Section 4, and it said bribery, and how that refers to treason, what does the word bribery mean? It means taking money for a kickback, taking money for a favor. Well, that hasn't changed. So why is lobbying legal? For our congressmen, for our senators, oh, you can take me out to eat, oh, you can get me a car, maybe some bars of gold, or maybe a house out in the country, and that's fine. I won't let that influence me. I won't let that be a bribe. But we've let bribing go out of control to where now bribing is why we're fighting that war in the Ukraine. It's why we're fighting this war in Israel. It's why we're backing NATO when they don't pay their bills. None of those countries paid their bills. Trump exposed that, so they're trying to go to full-on out war before Trump goes into office, because now you have Uncle Sam's help, but in 39 days you don't. Are you getting me now? So we have the NATO guy, and he's all steamed up, and he's going to let us know, hey, we're going to war right now because Putin is stealing land. No, he's not. The Ukraine voted. The states on the east voted to be a part of Russia, and that they are, and they had a vote on it twice. Stop regurgitating the George Soros media. It's a damn lie, and we all know it. The Ukraine has showed itself not to be responsible enough to be a country, and you don't even have a president. You have a puppet that's operating America underneath your flag of yellow and blue. And here's a news flash. We turned Poland into the nuclear headquarters for America. And so Poland's going to get bombed, and so Germany's going to get bombed, and he's been very specific about targets and why. This man.
And then I wasn't working at the time. I thought I'd never go back in because why would I go back into a place?
Listen to this.
Try to kill me. But I wasn't working. I had a baby. So I went back in and I got aboard the USS Maddox, TD-731, which was in the Tonkin Gulf, which was another false flag.
Wow. So just as a question, I mean, most people, just being in the Vietnam War, I mean, that was traumatizing enough, obviously. So you came back and you decided that you were still going to serve the country. When exactly did you find out that you were going to be aboard the USS Liberty?
I found out when I got orders to go to the East Coast from the West Coast. I was on an ammunition ship then, USS Mauna Kea AE-22. I said, well, great, I'm going away to the East Coast, and I always wanted to go there anyway. So I ended up on the Liberty. And when I got aboard the Liberty, they said it was a ship that mapped the bottom of the ocean. And I said, wow, how could that be when all the antennas are going straight up? Mm-hmm. But
Fox News alert right now, President Biden granting the largest...
There we go. Check that out. I mean, Jack Wagon Joe, I'm proud of you. Did you set all the crackheads free in America, or are these just people that are in business with you? Inquiring minds want to know. Yeah, well, we have 1,500 estimated commuted sentences and 39 people that have been pardoned. I just want to know, did P. Diddy make it? He was wanting to know. So anyways, Jack Wagon Joe, there's America's hero. Did you pardon Fauci? What about Shifty Schiff? And what about Cheney, Miss Piggy? You see, these are criminals that need to be prosecuted. They're responsible for lies and the deaths of thousands, if not millions of people. I could give a rat's butt about what you did for Hunter. That's your son. But did you pardon Fauci? Did you pardon Cheney? Did you pardon Fauci? And if so, do crimes against humanity and does treason count? I don't think that crimes against humanity or treasonistic offenses should be pardoned. That's just what I'm thinking. You tell me. So again, Operation Brilliant Eagle. Now, why would NATO call their new operation at the border of Russia Brilliant Eagle? Somehow America is going to pull out a Brilliant Eagle. I bet it's a stealth bomber. And you're letting us know that through the name of the title, Brilliant Eagle. Yeah, I know what that is. And this is what he's got for the Brilliant Eagle. He's got Oreshnik, and he's going to try to take our Brilliant Eagles out at the base camps that they're out at. And the war is on. He's announced certain areas that are hot, specifically like the nuclear base camps and the missile test places in the Ukraine, in Poland, and also Kiev. It's a hot base. All the U.S. bases that we have out there are basically, they've got X's on them with the Oreshnik. And that is what he's let everybody know. And I think he's removed his ambassadors that are close by in certain areas. But we have a ticking situation over there with Russia and with NATO and the EU, because NATO knows they only have 39 more days to start a war with the president that's going to be behind him. They know that as soon as Trump is in, that we're not behind NATO or the EU because they have not paid their bills. And as such, this is a complete United States funded terrorism organization act. Our government has been taken over by the military industrialization complex. It's clear and obvious. And the weaponized media. We were warned about the military industrialization complex by Eisenhower. But believe it or not, we were warned about the weaponized media complex by Nixon before they impeached him. Yeah, and he did a lot of great things, but we let the media get out of control as soon as Nixon happened. And we have had a weaponized media. We have had a Congress, the Geritol crew, get away with murder, steal all of our money. We have let a Supreme Court rig its own system to where they're appointed until death. And that is a clear indication of an abuse of power. We need to fire every single one of them. I'd like to see a black man and a black woman, an Asian man, Asian woman, Mexican man, Mexican woman, American Indian man, American Indian woman, white man, white woman, you know. And you could throw a couple of others in there, and we'd have a little better selection than we do today. And you could even start off in our Teachers of the Year across America, and we do far superior than where we're going today. Today, Vladimir Putin is meeting at the war desk. He's getting a response back from his team, like I said, confirming the 500 Oreshniks that are on site for Europe. What is America looking at? Poseidon, Sarmat? I don't know. Don't want to speculate. Don't want to say. But he is, he told Trump that you're not going to be able to do the peace plan in the Ukraine when you step in, because I'm going to finish the war before you can get into office. He's getting tired of Netanyahu as well. I'm just really worried about where we're going to be in 39 days when Trump takes the helm. And realistically, if we let our country continue to get away with this day by day, will we make it? So I am a hostage here with you. We got 39 days that we're held hostage together by a tyrannical government. And we just bombed all of Syria, unbeknownst to all of us, with Israel and Turkey. Was it top on our list? Did we have to do it, or did Israel have to do it? When we got rid of Saddam Hussein, was it really good for us? Or did we really just empower ISIS in Iran? Because today, they have it. So what did we do? And when I see Russia pull out, I know that they're just going to let them fight it out between themselves and concentrate on their new frontier, which is the Ukraine and Europe. So that's where we're going. And I'm glad, though, again, with 39 days left, that we had 39 more pardons. That's 40 pardons altogether, and that's the number of suffering. Good old devil used them. Number 40s, 40 days in the wilderness tempting Jesus. But we have a situation, and then like I said, it was amazing to me. Oh, here's pretty interesting too. We have 300 vials left exposed. Listen to this. This will blow you away.
January 21st. A few moments later.
This is where Queensland's secretive testing and research of deadly viruses takes place, but today a very public admission.
There is not a clear record of the destruction of 323 samples that cannot be located.
Get ready to see Anthony Fauci. Got dust off the Anthony Fauci voice. Yeah, it's been a while, boys, right? You're a good guy! You better take my boy.
Yeah, and that's why they're going to need to pardon Anthony Fauci. We have hundreds of vials of deadly viruses that have gone missing. This is being released by the Salty Cracker. Another good show you should watch. Good stuff. So is Redacted, Clayton Morris, the Hodge twins. there are those of us that try to keep the truth and the peace. Clayton Moore's great show as well, but Candace Owens had a great piece, and I do listen to our listeners, and we thought that something that was very appropriate here. We always talk about how this is biblical. Well, it is biblical, but I wanted you to see this. Hundreds of vials of deadly viruses have gone missing from a laboratory, and the scientists warned they could be weaponized. What do you think about that? You see, this is everything that they're releasing to you and I before everything happens. And I just wanted you to know. And prepare for a massive strike. But what this is this is Isaiah 17. God will punish Syria and Israel. Oh? The Lord said, Damascus will not be a city any longer, and I will only a pile of ruins. The cities of Syria will be deserted forever. There will be a pasture for sheep and cattle, and no one will drive them away. Israel will be defenseless, and Damascus will lose its independence. Those Syrians who survive will be in disgrace like the people of Israel. I, the Lord Almighty, have spoken. The Lord said, a day is coming when Israel's greatness will come to an end, and its wealth will be replaced by poverty. Israel will be like a field where the grain has been cut and harvested, as desolate as a field in the Rephaim Valley where it has been picked bare, and only a few people will survive. And Israel will be like an olive tree, which all the olives have been picked except for 2 or 3 at the very top, and maybe a few that are left on the lower branches. I, the Lord God of Israel, have spoken. And when that day comes, people will turn for help to their Creator, the Holy God of Israel. They will no longer rely on their altars they made with their own hands, or trust in their own handiwork, symbols of the goddess Asherah, and altars for burning incense. When that day comes, well-defended cities will be deserted and left in ruins, like the cities that the Hivites and the Amorites abandoned as they fled from the people of Israel. Israel, you have forgotten the God who rescues you and protects you like a mighty rock. Instead, you planted secret gardens in order to worship a foreign god. But even if they sprouted and blossomed, the very morning you planted them, there would still be no harvest. There would only be trouble and incurable pain. God will punish Syria, and Israel. And the prophet Isaiah said, what did he say? He said, a day is coming when the greatness will come to an end and its wealth will be replaced by poverty, and Israel will be like a field where the grain has been cut and harvested, as desolate as a field in the Rephaim Valley where it's been picked bare. And only a few people will survive. And Israel will be like an olive tree. It's been picked except for 2 or 3 at the very top and a few that are left on the lower branches. I, the Lord God of Israel, have spoken. This is biblical. One of the greatest prophets and seers of the Bible is Isaiah. Everything that Isaiah says, you really almost should definitely listen to. And this is what he saw. And here we are in Syria again, Isaiah 17. And the splendor and the blessings of Israel will be cut and taken away. These are not my words. These are the God of Israel's words in the Holy Bible. Oh, so what are we doing? Our founding fathers gave us words that said that Congress shall make no law regarding the establishment of a religion, and no matter how I see it, no matter how this smells, this is a war between Judaism and Islam, the cousins of the children of Abraham. This is not our war. Syria is not our war. Our war is the war on poverty. Our war is the Chinese drones that are on the East Coast and the West Coast that are doing surveillance. Soon they will be microwave ovening our brains. You can look at my older shows where I show these ships in detail. This is a war weapon. But then again, China already tested us when we let a balloon fly over our entire country and we did nothing about it. Today, we have hundreds of drones flying all over our country with the same criminal country behind it, and we do nothing about it. Xi Jinping has been invited to the White House as President Trump becomes the president, and is this keeping our enemies in bed with ourselves? Or are we for sale just as we were before? Oh, I think the doors need to be closed to China. They have surrounded Taiwan with the military fortress of boats as I'm speaking. The only way to safeguard Taiwan, the only way to safeguard Syria, is to safeguard the Panama Canal and take it over. The Panama Canal is what I said. Teddy Roosevelt saw it. What do I mean? Well, if we control that and kick China out, then they're not going to hardball us with the Strait of Taiwan, or we'll hardball them on the Panama Canal. Same thing with the Suez Canal. You want to hardball us there? We'll hardball you here too. And that is common sense. Make Canada the 51st state, but if you're going to do that, you must include Mexico. And then while we're doing that, take over Panama, Costa Rica, and Venezuela, and Cuba. It's called common sense. It's called putting our naval bases in Venezuela and Cuba, giving them the food that they need, embracing a culture that embraces Jesus Christ, using our natural resources in the areas that are close by so that we can be protected in our future endeavors and interests. And we can trade oil and gas for food and a better way of life and stay out of the war that I'm seeing over there that never ends with the seeds of Abraham. One side refuses to breed with the other, while the other side's holding all the oil. It was kind of like Mel Brooks saying, and he said it best when he was saying, we made a wrong turn. If we would have turned the other way, we would be the guys with all the oil, and they would be the guys over there. And that's true, and that's the news. So all this green energy stuff, understand that God created the heavens and the earth and the oceans. And that shale natural gas that we like, well, that came from ancient oceans at 3 different epochs here in like, let's say in Texas. Texas was flooded over at 3 different times. And then it started to lift up in the middle, which created the Rocky Mountains and formed the Permian Basin on one side and the Fort Worth Basin on the other side. And then we had 2 other epochs of shallow oceans. And all those Moneras and Protistas and sponges became the sediment of shale. It's dead organic clastic sediment, old ancient doo-doo. And if we use those ancient oceans like anaerobic digesters, we can be energy independent, have all the electricity we need for hundreds of years, maybe not thousands. And if we use biomass and hemp biomass and create biodiesel, America doesn't need to be friends and kiss up to countries like China, like Saudi Arabia. And then we can safeguard that Panama Canal, hold it down like an iron fist, establish peace, feed the world, do the things that we should, and unfortunately the only person that's feeding the world from the Ukraine has been Vladimir Putin. He's gained the support of Africa. He's gained the support of BRICS. BRICS is now 85% of the world versus 15% of the world. That's the war that we're fighting as we slide into World War II. I noticed that several things were hacked yesterday. I believe the hacking's going to continue. The culprits won't just be Iran, as they always make the culprit Iran. No, the culprits are going to be China. Culprits are going to be Russia, probably even India. Everybody's going to be hitting the United States and Canada and Mexico as if we're a vulture. Why not? We've got an old, decrepit Jack Wagon Joe that's giving every dollar that we have to Zelensky. So, will Zelensky be next on that pardoning with Benjamin Netanyahu as they live the rest of their extravagant lives in Miami? Kind of sounds like how Hitler lived his final days out in down there in Argentina. So history will repeat itself, I guess, just once again and once more. Again, we have 39 days left that we're held hostage here in America. But maybe not. Maybe tomorrow you'll get a pardon from Jack Wagon Joe. Because today he just gave 39 pardons out. God bless you, everyone.